evening. It's your girl ChucTayyy, and I am back with this week's RETV Sports Update. Had to take a little break last week, guys, but I am back and I am ready to spit facts and talk junk. So let's get into it. First, we're going to start off with the NFL. We currently have 12 players out on injured reserve or just flat out as we enter week 3 of the NFL season. This would include the Chargers quarterback Tyrod Taylor, who is suffering from a punctured lung at the hands of the team doctor. Now, Taylor was getting a pain-killing injection to help out a cracked rib situation that he had in hopes that he would be able to play in the game on Sunday. However, somehow this doctor slipped, missed, and punctured his lung, and he ended up in the hospital, which is obviously way worse than just dealing with the cracked rib, right? So there's a lot of nuances here, guys, because of course the Chargers as an organization are like, Taylor is our quarterback, and as soon as he's ready, we're gonna let him come back. Of course, they're dealing with the backup quarterback now, but you know, so they're standing behind him 100%. Coaches are like, we shouldn't have players missing out on their work. I shouldn't say it like that. It's his job, but because he's injured, which I have thoughts about that. We'll come back to that. But there's just a lot going on, and then of course no one can get the doctor on the phone to say, hey, how did you puncture his lung? You should have just been giving him a shot. You know, there's lots of things going on, and lots of thoughts out in the universe. The shot that he was getting is not an uncommon shot. To put it in layman's terms, it's basically like a high dosage of ibuprofen in shot form that players usually take if they want to play and they're just kind of hurting more than a little bit, but not quite enough to be out. So of course we want to make sure that he has a speedy recovery and hope that this punctured lung doesn't turn into anything more serious. On a side note though, totally unrelated, kind of not really, you know, I want coaches and organizations to keep the same energy with women when we have babies, or, you know, something keeps these WNBA players or soccer players from playing and working and doing their jobs. You know, you want to stand behind them and not cut their pay and all of the things. I just really felt like I needed to add that in there. It was a moment, guys. So definitely make sure that we keep that same energy. Okay, folks? Okay. But going into week 3 of the NFL, all eyes seem to be on Drew Brees as the 1-1 Saints are getting ready to take on the 2-0 Packers. Drew Brees is looking not so great, guys. His age, in my opinion, is starting to show a little bit. Analysts seem to think that his arm strength is dwindling, and it's just not looking so hot for the Saints. Like I said, they are currently 1-1, which is not terrible. Of course, 2-0 is better, but you know, he is only averaging 4.8 yards per attempt, which is one of the lowest for quarterbacks in the season. So Drew, you know, they're saying that you should hang it up, bud. He of course is saying that he feels amazing and that he thinks week 3 he's going to be better than ever. Of course, Aaron Rodgers is out here being Aaron Rodgers. So, you know, the Packers are 2-0. So it's really going to be interesting to see what happens on Sunday night as the Packers and the Saints kick off Sunday Night Football. Moving right along. So we have the NBA playoffs going on still. It just seems like the longest NBA season ever, guys. I don't know, but I guess maybe I'm just not used to the NBA going this long. So my birthday's in June, in case, you know, quarantine is over next year, guys. But I'm used to this being over around my birthday, and it's just so long. It's so long. Anyway, so the Miami Heat at present are leading the Boston Celtics 2-1. And that is as of Wednesday. They will play Wednesday night. So by the time you guys see this, of course, that will be different. But Jimmy Butler, his mustache, and the rest of Miami are giving us some pretty good basketball, with the exception of Monday night when they allowed Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to combine for 51 points and let Marcus Smart have another 20. So, like I said, the series is 2-1. Not really my favorite series. I've probably been saying that as long as I've been hosting this show, right? Because the East, it doesn't do it for me, guys. It really doesn't. And I don't really think the Celtics have what it takes to make it to the finals. They made it a close matchup at this point, you know, 2-1. I think Wednesday night is going to be the game changer. It's the Heat. They're going to come out. Eric Spoelstra is going to send them boys out, those men out, and they're going to be, it's the Heat. The Heat is going to the finals, guys, so just deal with it, I guess. And then moving over to the West, AD and LeBron and the Lakers are, you know what, guys? I'm not going to lie. They're okay. They're playing pretty good basketball. Anthony Davis did put up a huge buzzer beater to win game 2. And it was amazing. And of course, in his interview, he said, that is why LA brought me out here, the Lakers rather, brought me out here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, so I'm going to do it. All of that is amazing, Unibrow. It's great. I cannot sleep on the Nuggets, though, because Jamal Murray has been playing fantastic basketball. It has been so great watching him, and he is really leading this Nuggets team to what I think could be a playoff, a finals championship. Now, let me not say a championship. They can make it to the finals. That's what I think. But he is just really leading this team. And I know that Utah was a different scenario than LeBron and Anthony Davis and this pretty seasoned Lakers team. But again, in my opinion, seasoned does not always mean better. And I still feel like the Lakers have a little bit more gelling to do. They play well. I think they play well separately. Not so much together. They're not horrible together, but they just have a lot more clicking to do for me. And the way Jamal Murray led his team to victory in game 3 with those 28 points, 12 assists, and 8 rebounds, I really think that kid has so much more in him, and we just haven't seen all of it yet. So it is going to be the best series that we will probably see thus far. And I really think that if the Lakers get caught slipping again, I mean, if the series is only 2-1, it's still very, very early here. And if the Lakers get caught slipping like they did on Tuesday, they're going to find themselves on the wrong end of this series, and I'm just very interested to watch. So we'll see. Last but not least, guys, I'm going to keep it short and sweet for you. Dion Primetime Sanders has been named the new head coach of Jackson State University and HBCU in Mississippi. Why is this news? I mean, it's news because it's Dion Sanders, right? But really why I wanted to bring it to the forefront is because this is something I'm actually really, really passionate about, guys. So I am the product of an HBCU. I went to the Johnson C. Smith University. You have to say the. It's in the name. And it was quite literally the best experience of my life. We're not here to talk about what happened when I was in college. But what we are here to talk about is the fact that in the last year, in 2020, 2019, we now have one of the greatest football players, let's not get crazy, I didn't say I just wanted to make that clear. One of the greatest football players of our time, coaching at an HBCU. We have a solid, nationally recognized basketball player going to an HBCU. This is what I feel like people need to see. Your Kentuckys are great. Your Dukes are great. I'm sorry. Something in my throat. North Carolina, Gonzaga, all of these big, huge schools. Amazing. That's super great, right? You have so many great players that came from these great schools. Of course, you got your Michael Jordans and you have a lot, right? I could go down a rabbit hole with that, so I'm just going to stop at Michael Jordan. And they come from these big name schools, and that's super great. But all it takes is one player, one coach to put themselves into an HBCU And those schools would have the ability to be just as big as a Duke, as a North Carolina, as a Kentucky. You know, there were talks, I believe it was sometime end of last year, may have been beginning of this year, guys. It's all a blur, right? Of Bronny James going to an HBCU in North Carolina at that. And it sounds really good. Obviously, we have a lot of time to figure out where Bronny James is going to school. But it just takes those big names. Because again, going to an HBCU, I've seen phenomenal players at HBCUs. I've seen phenomenal players playing football. But they do not get the looks that your Kentuckys get. They don't get the looks that your Dukes get. You know, sometimes it's that they're great players and they could use a little bit more development, and they may not go D1, but D2 is not horrible. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to think about what it would mean for we'll just keep going with Bronny James to go to North Carolina Central University. What that means for that program. The money that then funnels in to that program because of one player. Dion Sanders already has somebody from an SEC school coming down to the SWAC. Like, it just takes, I'm like, guys, I'm so passionate about this because that is, HBCUs are put on this earth, we're put on this earth to create equal opportunity for people of color. Men, women, doesn't matter. I mean, hell, Stephen A. Smith, a graduate of an HBCU in the CIAA, he's Stephen A. Smith. So look at the caliber of people that come from these universities, but they do not get the recognition that they deserve because the big players want to go to your Kentuckys, want to go where the money is. And that's great. Those are solid programs, but there are solid programs outside of what we call your PWIs. And I just think Dion Sanders going to this HBCU is going to be a game changer. Whether that man can coach football or not, at this point, might not matter. And if the rumors are true, he's about to have the holy grail of football coaching those kids over there, those young men. And it is going to be a game changer. And I cannot wait to see it. So, I know I said that was the last thing, guys. It is not. I would be remiss if I did not mention that on the day of this recording, which is Wednesday the 23rd, it has been announced that one of the three officers in the Breonna Taylor case, basically, I'm going to say it in layman's terms, he basically got off. He was indicted with I'm not even going to pretend I can say, I think it's wanton endangerment charge, which basically means he was recklessly shooting. So he wasn't even indicted for the fact that he shot her. And it's very frustrating as a Black person, especially as a Black woman, to know that we have failed Breonna Taylor as a society, as a country, and that the city, the grand jury, the state, the country, thought so little of her that only one of the officers, one of three, was even brought up on charges at all, let alone the fact that what he was indicted with is only a possible 5 years in prison. And it's really disheartening, and it's just flat out sad. And what I would like to say to all of those watching, that I hope that you will continue to fight for justice, that you will continue to speak against what is wrong, that you will continue to use any and all platforms to defund, to just, again, speak out against what is wrong. And all we can do together is continue to pray and hope that one day they will stop killing us, and that they will care about our Black lives as much as they care about their white feelings. And that's it. That's it, and that's all. So, once again, I'm your girl, ChucTayyy. You can catch me here every Thursday on RETV with your sports update, spitting facts, and talking junk. I'll see you guys next week.